podcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right, everybody. Glad you joined us, and thanks to everybody who joined us. You are right here into the webinar. And this month, with me and Mike Rudd, we are going to talk about how to thrive in your sports sales career, which, going a little bit deeper, we'll talk about growing your revenue and how to become a linchpin in your sports career, which is always a good thing to be a go-to in any career, especially sports. So like I said before, I'm Steve Richards. I'm going to be joined by Mike Rudd here shortly. He'll be our presenter today. And just before we get started, I just want to make sure that everything's working out okay and we're doing well here. So I just want to find out where everybody's from. So if you could put your name and your city into the chat box, we can do a little bit of kill two birds with one stone here, just by getting make sure everybody can hear me and the chat box is working at the same time. And it looks like it is, because we've got Ray from Toronto. We've got, I'm going to butcher this name, Adelier. Oh my, I can't even do it. Somebody from Australia. So if you could phonetically put your name in, that might help. Mark's from Chicago. John is also from Toronto. So we got a couple people from Canada. We got Richard from Cali, Wes from Chicago. Awesome. So yeah, I appreciate your participation. Camille from New York City, Wendy from Sydney, Australia. We've got a couple people from Australia as well. Jeffrey also from New York City. So yeah, we appreciate the participation, and that's going to be a big part of our webinar here going forward, because we definitely want people to ask questions throughout so we can answer them at the end of the webinar, because we're going to be doing a Q&A with Mike and myself to get any burning questions that you have desired answered. We're also going to be doing a replay, which I'm excited about. Watch for the email that'll come tomorrow. I've hit record on this thing. Sometimes the go-to webinar recording apparatus doesn't work, but it says it's being recorded right now. So as long as it transfers and everything, we will be putting up a replay. So go ahead and look out for that email tomorrow. And we are going to be answering questions at the end, like I said. So go ahead and type those in the chat box just as they come to you. Doesn't even have to be at the end. We're going to answer them at the end, but I'll be the one that's monitoring them throughout to make sure that any questions you have get answered. So a little bit quick introduction here. Like I said, I'm Steve Richards. I happen to be the COO of Sports Networker. I actually started as a writing intern and moved my way up from there. So I did a little bit of the grind work, and now I'm up in the COO role. So I'm excited to bring you guys these webinars every month and to bring you guys new and fresh information over on sportsnetworker.com. So if you didn't know that we are from Sports Networker, go ahead and check us out at sportsnetworker.com. And our membership site is also the Sports Executives Association, which you can find at sportsexec.net. So that's me, a little bit about me anyway. Didn't want to drone on about myself, but we can drone on about Mike Rudd, because he'll be our presenter today, and he's the specialist. And when you talk about thriving in a sports sales career, Mike branded himself after hot dogs, and he used it to put himself through college. So he was certainly successful in the sales world. He sold over 75,000 hot dogs to work himself through college. So that's impressive in itself. But he is definitely a very successful sales expert. He's ready to share that model that he has that increased his revenue by 400% year after year with a radio company. And he's going to share it with you for free here in this webinar today, so that you can truly thrive in your sports career. So I'm really excited to get rolling and get going with this, and I'll stop talking so Mike can start talking. So take it away for us, Mike.
Thank you, Steve. Pleasure to be here, everybody. Hope everybody is doing wonderful this evening, this afternoon, overnight, or early in the morning, depending on what time zone you are coming from. So tonight, I'm in the Eastern time zone of America, so that's how I'm going to be referring to myself. We're going to do Thrive in Your Sports Sales Career, Grow Your Revenue, and Become a Linchpin. For those of you who may be unfamiliar with a linchpin, Seth Godin, who's one of probably the smartest marketing mind out there in the world right now, wrote a book about linchpins. And it is people who work within companies that are truly indispensable, that they have created such value and work so hard and do so many good things that the companies would not be able to function in the manner in which they do in such a great way without people like that. That's what I strive to be every day. I'm not, unfortunately, every single day, but that's my goal, and that's what I think your mindset needs to be every single day for you as well in the sports world, especially if you're in the sales world. So I am Marketing Fun with Mike, aka Mike Rudd, and I am a hot dog extraordinaire. And since all of you are tuning in tonight, you guys are as well. Let's get rocking and rolling. So what I'm going to go over tonight is an 11-step program that I've created and that I use each and every day. I used it today. I'm going to use it tomorrow in my job. I've written books about it. I have done presentations on it. And I've been using it in my 100% commission sales career since 2005. I call it the hot dog stand marketing version of sales. Tonight we're going to focus it in on the sports style theme to that because we're doing with this in conjunction with the SCA and Sports Networker. This is to ensure that you're not just waffling in your career, in your sales career. This is to ensure that you're kicking butt and taking names. You're not just surviving and treading water. And before you think, well, you know, I may or may not be going into sales in the sports world, I'll just see what I can take and get it. Every single one of us is in sales every single day of our lives. We're selling ourselves by the way in which we greet people when we walk out the door, to how we answer the phone when somebody calls, to how we smile at somebody walking down the street, to our body language in a meeting in front of our boss. So these steps, while I use them in my specific sales career, you can use them every single day, even if that's not your specific niche, because you are in sales and you're selling yourself, if nothing else, every single day. These steps, I want to give you the framework to grow your revenue 400% year to year like I have. The last 3 years from 10, 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 13, I've been able to do that. I took a list at the radio station that billed $350,000 in 2008, the year that I entered this radio station. And for the third straight year, this year I'm going to be finishing in the $1.6 to $1.8 million range. And over the next couple of years, I plan on getting it up to $2 to $3 million in revenue. And this is the framework. These are the steps that I use. And honestly, it's not rocket science. You're not going to be a skeezy, shady, salesy salesperson. In fact, if you ever check out on Fridays my social media right now, I'm doing a top 20 countdown on salesy sales movie characters where I poke fun of those people. Because I'm not that, and I think to thrive and be a linchpin in sales, especially in the sports world, you got to be yourself, and you can't be that way either. So this is classic steps of hard work, patience, and delivering on who you are and offering that value to your clients each and every day. Now, Steve kind of touched on it briefly. Very kind of him. Why should I be trusted? What do you guys need to actually make sure that you understand what I'm saying is going to apply to you? I've used this formula, like I said, to sell over 75,000 hot dogs in college and pay my way through Ohio State's business school without any loans. I did that in 2003, 2004, and 2005. From there, I've been using this formula to bill over $10 million in revenue for the companies that I worked for in radio. I was at a classic rock station from 2005 to 2008 of September, August, and I started at the sports talk radio station I am currently still at in September of 2008. And I've helped other people achieve success through training them in this hot dog stand marketing version of sales. This is my creation. That's what we're going to go over now. I have specifically taken people through this program. They have paid to go through this program, and it has worked for them in their sales career. I'm revamping my website right now, and in just a couple short weeks, I'm going to have, you got to stick with the hot dog theme with everything. They're going to be called grill out sessions, which is your one-on-one time with me where I go over. And one of the things I do in that available for purchase is this 11-step formula. So know that it can be worked to your benefit and that you can kick butt with this. So let's get rocking and rolling here. The number one most important thing in sales is to be yourself. Point blank. You can't fake it. You have to be authentic. People have to see you and be able to recognize that there's no BS with you. You have to be able to laugh and smile and have a good time while you're doing it. People are very smart. They can see through fake. The last thing you want to do is be uptight, be nervous, or be trying to impress somebody, or be fearful of rejection, any of those things. Just be yourself. Let your true personality shine through when you're out there on calls. And like I said, every single one of us is in sales all day, every day. Being yourself is the easiest way to thrive in your career because it's the most natural position you will ever be in. I'm going to tell you something about sales as well, especially in the sports world. If you're just getting into it, the first couple of years are the hardest to survive. That is point blank. It's like that with just about any job, though. But those that do make it through, a lot of people kind of hit cruise control after those first couple of years and they survive it. And that's where people fall into a problem. I've been doing this for a long time now. You cannot hit cruise control. You need to have a formula. You need to have an action plan each and every day. You need to do the most important work, and you constantly need to be digging out, looking for new stuff. This 11-step formula, I think, will help you get there and achieve success, not just for the short term to get through those first few grunt years, but for the long term. And like I said earlier, sales is fun, it's not shady, and honestly, a lot of people, everybody here wants to or already is working in the sports world. A lot of people want to be sports agents. Some people want to work for a professional team in marketing. There's a lot of different things that I hear when I'm working with Sports Network and the SEA. I'm going to tell you point blank, if you want to work in the sports world, the easiest and the best way to break into it, to stay in it, and to make money is in sponsorships and in sales. 100%, that is the easiest way to do it. Unless you can throw a splitter or a curveball like Madison Bumgarner for the San Francisco Giants, sales is the easiest way to stay in there. Is he on fire or what, Steve?
What a topical reference, too. They started comparing him to Christy Mathewson. I said, well, we might want to pump our brakes on that one, but...
So, the thing that we kind of have to think about as we get into these 11 steps is, as I'm at that is actually the Field of Dreams in Iowa. It's still a real site. I visited this summer to play off of Roy Kinsella's famous quote made by Kevin Costner in that, they can't come if you don't build it for them. So you want to build your people game-changing partnerships. You don't want to just go in there and offer them, hey, do you want to buy this, and then cross your fingers. You need to do something to raise the bar and offer something of so much value that they can't refuse, and they see you as being indispensable to their business, and your company that you work for sees you as indispensable to them, which makes you a linchpin, which is our entire goal of what we're going to do tonight. So let's go over these 11 steps. Number one, a remarkable level of customer service. Now, I know everybody talks about great customer service. We have the best customer service. Our customer service is second to none. Remarkable is a special word in my eyes. You want to do things that nobody else is doing. You want to take such good care of your clients that they cannot imagine life without you. That is being remarkable. That's the kind of level you need to strive for each and every day, whether it's rainy, whether you're running late for traffic because of traffic, whether you're meeting with your smallest client or your biggest prospect. Treat them remarkably in every single thing you do in the way in which you serve them. Number two, a true passion for what you represent. For myself, working at that hot dog stand taught me never work a job that I don't like. Never represent a product I didn't believe in. I have not to this day. If you hate baseball, don't go apply for a job selling billboard sponsorships for a baseball team. Have something that resonates with you, something that you believe in. Now, most people particularly can chase down the world of sports boot and they like everything within it. But that doesn't apply necessarily to everybody. If you think the NFL is a fraud right now with their concussion possibilities and what's going on with all their domestic violence issues, don't go work for them, because you need to have true passion for what you're going to be selling, or you're not going to be able to sell it as well as you can, and there's no way you'll be able to become a linchpin, which is the whole point of this exercise. Now think about each of these steps. As we're going through each of these steps, one alone by itself, yeah, that might make for a nice call, sales call, or a nice meeting. It takes all 11 of these all day, every day, revolving together to truly make you stand out. So don't think, well, this one's not that great. You got to be looking at this as the whole package put together. Number 3, and this is probably the most important one, an overflowing funnel of prospects and ideas. If you need 20 prospects to close 10 sales to reach your budget, you need to have 50 prospects. If you need 15 great ideas for your clients, you better have 35, because those clients are not going to like a lot of what you think are great ideas. Your sales funnel needs to be overflowing so much to the point that when one prospect moves to the next phase and is ready to buy, or tells you to buzz off and never come talk to me again, you need to have another prospect right there in the funnel to move it along without missing a beat. Same with your great ideas. Both of these need to always be overflowing, and so that your funnel never goes dry. You do that, you will never hit that snag that a lot of people hit a couple years into the business. That, oh man, I made it through those first couple years. Now I can just hit cruise control. This is why people stop prospecting, people stop coming up with great ideas. Now, one thing you have to remember with those great ideas is nothing safe is really that outstanding in this world. Nobody really likes safe ideas because they've been done over and over and over again. Think t-shirt cannon. Think having a lawn and garden person sponsor the 7th inning stretch and the team that comes out to clean the field. You need to come up with stuff that is different, that involves taking risks, that is thought-provoking, and, like we said earlier, is a game-changing partnership. Next 4 steps. Number 4, love of reading. You want to get great at your craft, you need to read and read about all those people that are already outstanding at your craft. These are mentors. There are so many blogs, workshops, authors of books, webinars you can attend, speaking engagements you can go see. There's so much you can see each and every day, and a lot of it is free. You need to dive into your craft. Now, you also, I believe, need to be reading books that make you learn outside of your craft, fiction novels that will just make your brain work in a little bit different way. You say, I don't have enough time to read, I say turn off your TV. Turn off your computer and find the time to do it. I recommend reading 30 to 35 books a year, with about half of those on your craft and a half on pleasure, fiction, things to get your brain working in different ways, because reading makes you smarter, more educated, and more knowledgeable at everything you do. And if you can be think about the idea that each and every night, each and every morning before you go in, you're getting smarter and better at what you do, why not take that risk and try to do that? Number 5, transformations when necessary.
Mike, just real quick about the reading. Is there anything you're working on now or anything that you've recently completed that you can maybe recommend to our webinar attendees? Just one or two, I think.
Yeah, Anthony Anarino writes a sales blog. He's a mentor of mine, and it is called, his website is thesalesblog.com. And he writes a new blog every single day. I recommend going to his website every single day, just reading his blog. Sign up for his newsletter. He sends out a newsletter also every single Sunday. The guy's great. If you do what he says, you will be a millionaire in sales. But the problem is a lot of people don't do what he says. Another good one is the website businessgrow.com. It's run by a marketing professor from Boston U, I believe. His name is Mark Schaefer, but I believe it's businessgrow.com, and I read his blog. And from apps to talking about clout to social media marketing strategy to sales pitches, it is cutting-edge business ideas at its finest. So those would be two specific to what we're talking about that I would dive into. Good question, though, Steve. Thanks for having me throw a couple out there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Appreciate that.
So number 5, transformations when necessary. I have had to go from, in 2005, we sold radio by putting it onto a spreadsheet with numbers based on how many listeners we had and fax it over to a client, waited for them to sign it and fax back based on our numbers, to now where I go meet with clients face to face and come up with an entire marketing solution and partnership idea that is based nothing on the numbers but only worried about making their business grow. That didn't just happen. I had to transform into that type of seller. And that's what you have to do, depending on the situation in your life. Just like these sports teams have to constantly, and the leagues, transform. Right now, baseball needs to transform. It's getting older viewers and listeners. It needs to speed up the game. It's done a few things, adding instant replay, for instance. It's not where it needs to go, but you need to move much faster than baseball. You need to constantly transform yourself when the situation calls to improve how you do business and the way in which you work each and every day. Number 6, a lack of complacency. There is always going to be another seller of another product just about as good, if not better than yours, with a reasonable price and a good idea. They're waiting right around the corner, ready to steal your lunch money. You have to be better, more on the game, and completely get rid of any complacent nature in your body to outwit them, outsmart them, and out-hustle them each and every day. Number 7, check your ego at the door. It doesn't matter if you have one sale or you are making $10 million a year. You have to be able to check your ego at the door. You need to not realize how great you are, but actually how much you're helping your clients, how much you're helping the company you work for, and how much you're helping or the business that you started. And the only thing that matters is the difference you can make in the community that you are serving, wherever that community may be. That community could be 2 people or it could be the entire global world. Check your ego at the door. There's no self-serving inflation of egos that is going to help you prosper and thrive in your career at all. So when you get into it, leave it outside and don't worry about it. To wrap up, did I skip one here? I might have numbered these wrong, but I apologize if I did. Be a leader and a teammate. You need to go back and forth, depending on when the situation calls for it, to be both a great leader and a great teammate. Sometimes the situation is going to tell you to stand up, take the bull by its horns, and lead the team or lead your clients or lead the community. There's going to be other times where somebody else is going to take that role, and you need to accept that by checking your ego at the door and be the best teammate possible. You need to be able to go back and forth between being a great leader and an outstanding teammate, depending on when the situation calls for it. That is going to help you be great in everything you do, even if you're not in a management role. You have to know your story and build a personal brand. I know what I did here on the numberings, just so everybody knows. Being yourself is supposed to be, that's kind of my number one thing with that. So just in case anybody's wondering on my numbers. Know your story and build a personal brand. Every single one of us has a story in our lives that separates us from every other person in the universe. For myself, I don't know a lot of people that went to Ohio State's business school at night while selling hot dogs all day long to pay for their tuition bills. And while there at the hot dog stand, learned I never want to work a job that I don't love. That's not very easy to do, and very easy to have a story that is duplicated like that. There's a story like that for each and every one of you. When you know your story, then you build around your story and why it matters to the person that's listening, and you build a personal brand. A personal brand is what I've done with Marketing Fun with Mike. It's what Lewis has done with his story. Everybody knows Lewis's story, I think. And Anthony, the guy's website I just recommended, the sales blog, he has a story as well, and he has branded himself as the sales guy. Everywhere you look, people are building personal brands, and it is separation points that make you different. How are you going to be different than those 49 other salespeople calling on that local business that day in your sales career? Maybe it's your story. Maybe it's what you stand for. Maybe it's the personal brand you've created and the content that you're producing each and every day. Finally, build a community idea from the ground up. What does that mean? Start from scratch, whatever community you're serving in which your sales career or your position involves. Build something all the way from the bottom, all the way up to the top, from the ground up, that serves and benefits and helps that community. This could be for-profit or non-profit. You start to do stuff like that, though. You start to create, I have coined it, legacy work. Actually, I have not. My friend Chris Gillaboo has, but I always tell people about Chris calling it that. And that's something that's very important to me, and I've coined it a goal in my life to create work like that each and every day, to have something around after you're gone, whether it be from that position or from this entire earth. When you start to build a community idea from the ground up like that, you start to get noticed. You start to get attention paid to you that this isn't just another salesperson sitting here. This guy's created a personal brand. This lady's built that great community idea from the ground up. I mean, they're a leader, they're a teammate, they're passionate, that service they give is outstanding. That's when you start, when everything goes on all cylinders, that's how you become a linchpin, and that's how you start to raise that revenue up by 400%. So the question I have is, what are you guys waiting for? Let's take some action now with this. Start applying those 11 steps in your career today. If you're already in the SEA, or if you're not, you can sign up. I have a full ebook on this topic, very close to this topic. I don't have my final steps in it, but the first 10 steps are the same, and they're in more detail. And when you join the SEA, you get to download this ebook on this topic for absolutely free. And start using those steps. You have to apply those steps. Also, I'll sign you up for my newsletter, and you can have my personal brand ingredients PDF for free as well. That's something I'll send you. It's a PDF I've created. The personal brand is something that creates separation from everything and everyone in your career and helps vault you to be a linchpin. And it's the starting point. It shows you how to build that personal brand and what to do to make it truly extraordinary. So take some action. I mean, these steps are great, but without you actually applying those into your life, without you downloading that ebook, without you getting the personal brand ingredients and starting to build that personal brand and starting to build those community ideas from the ground up, it's really just words on a keynote slide. So take that action. Don't waste a moment. Your life is truly extraordinary if you let it be that way. And I know you wouldn't be here tonight, this morning, or this afternoon if you didn't think that. So go make some ground shake, do something remarkable, do some legacy work. I know it's in each and every one of you. So right now, I'm going to let Steve, you want to take over the handles, and we got a webinar offer tonight to show everybody what the Sports Executives Association is all about, and then a special offer we're doing.
Yeah, sure.
The SEA.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me switch the controls here. And while I switch the controls, I want to remind everybody to feel free to go ahead and throw any of those questions that you might have in the question box so that we can get as many things as we can answered. Because we have some time for questions after. We'll definitely have some time for questions after I show you what all is here in the inside the Sports Executives Association as well. So don't be shy. Go ahead and ask any questions that you might have.
Fire
Mike,
away, everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Are you able to see my screen okay, Mike? I assume if you can, then everybody else will be able to.
I most certainly can.
Awesome. Cool. So yeah, here's the back end, the dashboard, so to speak, of the Sports Executives Association that we have. So I actually just have right now, I have open the training page. You see here we have a ton of these. These are all webinars that we have archived in here. So, Mike talks about taking action and having things at your disposal. This is exactly everything that we do. Whenever we do something every month, I'm going to throw the webinar, the replay, as long as it records. I throw it into our webinar archives, and every single one that we've ever done is in here. So you have complete access to all of the webinars that we've done, just like this one. You can see we have a ton of topics, networking that moves the needle, which is an awesome webinar that we did, social media marketing strategies, and becoming efficient and turning your passion into your career. Just if you're not even in sports yet and you want to, but you're passionate about it and you know where you want to work, you're turning it into a career is certainly doable. We also have obviously webinars that aren't with Mike as well. We have peak performance on the field and in the office, which is something that we did with Matt Creven a little while back. Leveraging LinkedIn to land your dream job. That's done by our old CEO. I shouldn't say old. He's a young, spry individual, but our ex-CEO. Yeah, he's pretty old too. Trevor Turnbull is the guy that hosted this one. So this is just some of the stuff that we have as far as our archives are concerned. If I click on the bonuses, that's where you're going to find the PDF, the book that Mike mentioned with the hot dog stand marketing. That's his book here. The Mental Side of Sports is a book from Eric Simpson, who's another guy that we work with. And this 3X personal connection formula, if you're not in sports yet, this is exactly what you need and want to get into the sports industry. This is something that our CEO, Lewis Howes, invented. And it's a way that he connects with everybody that he connects with on LinkedIn. And as a result, we have the largest group on LinkedIn when it comes to sports. Our group is up over 165,000 members now, and it's all thanks to this 3X personal connection formula. He built all that hype and hoopla around his name on LinkedIn is all through this formula. So, again, this book is absolutely free when you sign up for the SEA, and we have all sorts of things like this. What we also have, I want to mention these three things real quick, is ace your sports job interview, write a winning sports job resume, and write a winning sports job cover letter. These are things that'll definitely, absolutely get you noticed, and either have people notice your resume or cover letter, and then once you get in the door for an interview, this is what's going to make you stand out from all the other competitors, because certainly these books are going to help you, and certainly the sports industry is as competitive as it gets right now. So any leg up you can get is is going to be beneficial to you. And this is certainly the leg up that you could be looking for to land that dream job in sports that you've always wanted. Another huge part about our SEA here is the networking aspect. We have a Facebook group and a LinkedIn group that are both SEA members only, which right now we're sitting at somewhere around 200 SEA members. So it's a big group, but it's also an exclusive group. We're kind of in the sweet spot right now, where we're big enough that it's going to be beneficial for you to be networking with this many people, but it's also exclusive enough that people are going to know your name when you're networking with people. So, and these member only groups are great for both people looking to hire prospective employees and also employees looking for jobs. So we have a good mix of both. So we're pretty proud of what we've done here in this SEA LinkedIn group and this SEA Facebook group. And once you sign up for the SEA, all you have to do is ask to join the groups, and we throw you in there, and you're free to network and free to raise awareness about yourself and your business and anybody else that you want to raise awareness about. And we also have plenty of affiliate deals. You'll see here across the top, we have a partner deal with Work in Sports. We'll get you a deal there. Career coaching. There's our buddy Mike Rudd. He's got a book deal with us. Dream Job TV, which is another way to make yourself stand out in sports. We have affiliate deals with Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn training. Again, these are ways to make yourself stand out on social media. So we have all sorts of stuff is what I'm trying to say. I'm just doing it in a longer-winded way. But we have plenty of benefits, and certainly with the deal that we have going for the first month, and then even at the $27 a month that it costs, you'll certainly get your money's worth as long as you go in here and do the work and really, if you're passionate about it, that's what you're going to want to do anyway. So this is giving you those tools and giving you the ability to really find that job in sports that you've always wanted. Mike, is there anything that I might have forgotten that you wanted to add here?
No, that's great. If you want to turn it back over to me, I'll bring
absolutely.
the screen back up for the link.
Yeah, let me switch screens back over to Mike so you can see our link that you can go to.
But yeah, everybody, it's just like what Steve said, it's all about taking action. If you do join or you already are a member, I would just encourage you, get the most out of it. Get in there every day and just spend an hour. If you spend an hour to an hour and a half every day watching the webinars, going through the trainings, doing the networking, getting my book, getting some of the books from Eric Simpson, some of the other guys, it's going to help. But you got to put in the effort. You can't just sign up and a magic pill pops and offers you a job in the sports world. It's just not how it works. So the deal that we have tonight, it's $9.97 for 30 days, $27 a month after that. sportsexec.net/deal. sportsexec.net/deal. It's right there. Sign up. I'm going to give you guys, as a personal thank you as well, if you do sign up, email me at mike@marketingfunwithmike.com, and I'll give you the personal brand ingredients PDF after you sign up. This gives you the entire framework that you need to start building a personal brand, to get off your feet. I do personal brand grill out sessions, consulting services with people as well, and this is the first thing that I go through when I'm working with somebody. So it works, people have built them, and I promise you it'll help you. But it doesn't get any better than that. $9.97 for 30 days, $27 a month after that. Cancel anytime. sportsexec.net/deal. If you sign up, email me. Let me give you that personal brand ingredients PDF. If you're already a member of the SEA, I don't want to leave you hanging. If you email me, I'll send you this PDF as well. But I am going to sign you up for my awesome newsletter, so you know that in advance. So that's the deal, everybody. Steve, you want to jump in with some questions?
Yeah, absolutely. We have plenty of questions coming through, which I appreciate. And again, feel free to continue to ask these questions. We've got a couple minutes here to still answer. So, and actually the first question Richard had was the PDF and e-file that Mike was talking about. Was that going to be emailed automatically? So, Richard, the answer I'm seeing is kind of yes. But after you sign up, if you just email Mike again at that Mike@marketingfunwithmike.com, he'll send you the PDF and the e-file. Is that where we're headed, Mike?
Yeah, it will not. Yeah, Richard, it won't be an automatic because I technically am my own. I, I'm not. While I'm affiliated and friends with everybody in the SCA, it doesn't in their sign up process. This will not come directly to you, so you will need to just email me, and I'll email you right back and send you the PDF and get you signed up for the newsletter. Mine, which just helps people build ideas from the ground up. So.
Awesome. Cool. And then we also had a question come in from Ray. He had a question about one of your steps, which was number
Yeah.
10 in particular. Know your story and build a personal brand. He's asking if you can build on that a little bit, maybe go into not complete detail, but maybe a little bit more detail on knowing your story and building a personal brand.
Yeah, I'd be happy to, Ray. When I started off in radio sales in about 2005, 2006, there was, I don't know, 100 people calling on the local businesses and the national businesses that I was calling on every single day, each with a different product, each with a different offering. Everybody was battling for the same piece of the pie. I wanted to do something personally myself that made me stick out, that made me separate myself from everybody else in the pack. And a personal brand is a way to do it. If you're applying for a job, it's a way to separate yourself from the rest of that resume pile. And what the personal brand is, for me, it's everything that I do with Marketing Fun with Mike. That is my personal brand. From the hot dog theme to doing the blogs to coming up with my own content and formulas, and it's all crafted around my story. So just to kind of give you an example, Ray, let's say you want to be in sports broadcasting and you broadcasted as let's say your dad broadcasted high school football games for your little town in Texas and you always sat in the booth. Your story is that you grew up in the broadcasting booth, pretending, thinking in your head what you would say if your dad ever gave you the microphone. And now you have the chance to have that microphone. So you've built a podcast that tries to help people about the sports broadcasting world. And while it also does that for your benefit and for the listener's benefit, it helps the entire brand of what you're trying to do and helps you get a job in the sports broadcasting world or enhance what you're already doing in the sports broadcasting world on your own. Does that kind of start to make sense with that? And if you'd like to, if you want to email me, I think if you took a look at the PDF that I have, it really starts to make sense because it examines some questions for you and makes you answer these questions that'll really help you define what your story is and what kind of steps you want to take to build that personal brand. But a personal brand is just an extension of who you are, and it's a separation point for you to be able to do business better and differently than everybody else in the field.
And it looks like he caught you hit right at home. He said the irony of the example. That's exactly what I wanted to break into. So I see Ray is from Toronto, so I don't know if he's a Blue Jays guy, an Argonauts guy, but it looks like he likes to he wants to talk about the radio in some capacity about some kind of Toronto sports. So he loves the
Awesome.
example, and he said thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. If you want some more details, just email me and I'll send that to you. Hopefully that can kind of start to examine a little deeper for you.
Awesome. And then Matt had our next question, and he's asking what an average business cycle to prospect, develop, and then close a multi-million-dollar sponsorship deal in one of the big four sports arenas. So he's talking big money, big deal here. So he's thinking maybe 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. He's not sure how long, what the time frame is, I guess.
Well, Matt, it's interesting, for the big four, a multi-million-dollar sponsorship deal won't be their biggest deal, which is kind of crazy to wrap your head around. Um, but I work in the same office as a team that sells for Ohio State. While we are the sports talk radio station that broadcasts the games and stuff, they actually are the ones that would be selling, in stadium signage for the Ohio State Michigan game, for the um, Ohio State Michigan State basketball game, etc. You're looking at, for a big deal like that, to prospect, to find the decision maker, to sit down with them. You're looking at a 12-month process for something like that. Of course, it can go faster, it can go longer, but to build it from the ground up takes a lot of time to gain trust with those people. Those people are hard to get in touch with, and it takes a good while. I've seen those guys, because in the radio world that I'm in, it's still, it can be a couple months with people, but there's also people that I can walk into, meet them, and they're on the radio station within 2 weeks. Those guys that work for Ohio State that I'm in the same office as, it doesn't work like that. They're in their office, or they're doing lunches, or they're on the phone. So 12 months would be my best gauge.
I just have a quick follow-up as my own question. But would you think that when you say
Yeah.
12 months, would you think that the prospect, develop, or close would be the longest part of that process? Obviously, some of us are going to be working on a smaller scale, but I would think that something that is translatable to all sales deals would be develop, or prospect, develop, and close. So in your opinion, what is the one that either takes the most work or takes the most time?
I think what takes the most time and is the hardest part of a deal with a bigger company is getting to the true decision maker, finding out who that is, somehow finding out their email or phone number, or stalking them where they live. I'm not sure, depending on how far you're willing to go, and being able to sit down with them and gain the trust to start the process of putting together a game-changing partnership. Hands down.
Awesome. Yeah, Matt said, thank you. And it's all about setting expectations with your management team who may not understand a sales cycle. So that's
Yeah,
certainly
absolutely.
something else.
You may have, yeah, because there's going to be some managers that'll be like, oh yeah, I mean, just call them and call them and call them, and in 2 months you'll have the deal. It's not always the case.
Yeah, exactly. Our next question here comes from Adelaide, our friend in Australia. She's saying personal fitness in particular is a very individual thing. She has a close relative whose brand is discipline and confidence, and she wants to start a business out of it. And there's so many franchises that I guess already exist out there. So she's asking if like a personal fitness franchise and getting started for the sports exec. I think that I think what she's getting at is if she can benefit from signing up for the SEA. If she wants to start, her close relative can benefit from starting this business. If signing up for the SEA could benefit her either immediately or in the long road. Which, I mean, I can certainly speak to this. I certainly think that it will for sure, because for me at least, there's certain things that we have about getting noticed and marketing through social media and things like that, which is obviously a huge part in business. It's the networking, again, the Facebook group and the LinkedIn group we have. You never know what type of people are in that group, and they may not even seem like they are in your field, but they might have some venture capitalist money, because we definitely have some successful people that are in our groups as well. So there's always benefits that can be had if when signing up for the SCA, just by networking with people, and like I said, definitely our marketing and social media as well.
I think what's important with the SEA, if you're thinking about starting a business, is the education too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of between all these webinars and the trainings in it. From what I've seen, you can dig in and learn how to build a business if you take the time to go through it all and apply it. So
for sure.
That's a big win for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she had a follow-up as well. It's kind of a different topic. But she's talking here about Podomoro is good for time management, 20 minutes on each thing, like networking, and then a 10-minute break for reflection and things like that. Do you follow that at all and find that that's helpful in your sales world or business world, that taking working hard for a certain amount of time and then taking breaks in between could be helpful and kind of make you the most productive you can be?
Well, it's funny that you bring that up because Marketing Fun with Mike is has we are coming out with extraordinaire recipes. Of course, has to have a hot dog theme, and each recipe helps you improve a different part of your life. And I'm going to have one coming out in next June on sales, one on personal branding as well. But the first one's on efficiency and how to get the most out of your time to live the life you want. And one of my 25 steps, without giving away too much, because it is going to be available in January, one of my steps is 50 minutes on, 10 minutes off for everything you do, to reflect, to change your mindset, work over that, and your brain starts to get fried. So yes, that's my mantra, and that's what I follow: is 50 minutes on, 10 minutes off, no matter what I'm doing.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds like it's right up your alley then. And then she is also asking if efficiency is in one of the craft and pleasure books. So, as you read up on anything in regards to efficiency, and kind of because I know we've done a webinar, and we have in our webinar archives. It was a webinar with Mike that talked about efficiency. Have you read anything that you maybe can recommend specifically to efficiency or being more efficient, I guess, in the business world?
Yeah, I think a couple things without, I mean, the best thing that's going to be available, of course, is going to be my efficiency extraordinaire recipe here in January.
There it is.
Which, if you keep in touch with me on my blog and stuff, I'll be talking about it more, and we'll have actually anybody who signs up for my newsletter will get first opportunity to purchase it and get it at a discounted rate. But a couple things for the business world. People spend too much time in their inboxes and not enough time closing them out and working on the creating the work that really helps move what they're trying to do. Close your inbox when you're working on something important. Don't have those emails popping up and bothering you. Face to face, even on Skype or a phone call, over email or just a social media, changes the game and enhances the partnership and relationship that you have. And if you're really doing something in a meeting that's worth doing, don't bring in your smartphone. I'm actually reading about how there's an article, it's kind of condescending. I'm a positive person, so I shouldn't say it, but the article is only stupid people bring their smartphones into meetings. And it just talked about all the distractions that our phones give us from the work that we are truly meant to be doing. So those are a couple tips of mine.
Not condescending if it's true.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it looks like we've hit the end of our questions box, and we only have 5 minutes or so anyway. If anybody has any last minute questions here, feel free to get them in, and maybe we can answer them in less than 5 minutes. But if not, I think we've covered a ton of ground here and covered the 11 steps and a couple questions, or a bunch of questions that everybody's asked. So I appreciate everybody staying active and staying with it in the chat box. And if you like what we had here, like I said, all of our archives, this one will go into the Sports Executives Association, so you can watch it whenever you want. And all of the past webinars that we've done will also get thrown in our webinar archives as well. So we got plenty of things to offer you in that SEA, and we hope what you enjoyed today. Ray says, that was great, gentlemen. Thank you for your time, and we thank you for your time, Ray. So we appreciate it. Matt saying thank you as well. So we always like to get a little bit of a acknowledgement at the end, and we acknowledge everybody for being here and putting in the work, because this is part of the process. But definitely the next step is taking action. So we hope to see you in that SCA, and hopefully that's your action that you're taking with us.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate everybody who tuned in. If you do have questions that pop in your head after this, feel free to email me, hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, whatever your poison is, and I'll be happy to answer that. And don't forget, sportsexec.net/deal, and after you do that, email me for your personal brand ingredients PDF.
Awesome.
I think that's all. That's all I got.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt says time for the World Series. And he says go Royals, so I'm rooting for the Royals because I'm from Philadelphia, and I certainly hate the Giants. So I'm with you, Matt. And
I'll go for that for tonight. I got a lot of friends in the Bay, but I interviewed this amazing couple who are touring every national park in the country over the next year.
That's amazing.
On my podcast yesterday, and they're diehard Royals fans, so I kind of got a soft spot for them.
There you go. They got you. And
right, thanks so much.
Have a good one, everybody. We appreciate you jumping on, and we hope to see you in the SCA soon. We'll talk soon.
See ya.
Bye-bye.